Hey y'all, Lovely Hustles here with a new braid out for you guys. This is a 5-day-old braid out that I still have sticking up at the top of my head. I already started, but I want to show you guys some stuff that I did. So this is what I use. It was Camille Rose, the best brand ever. The honeycomb curl whip was whipping, and I love their products. Absolute 10 out of 10. Of course, water. I like to drench my hair in water. I have to do that in order for my braid outs to turn out right. As you can see, I dyed my hair. I kind of dyed the top a lighter color of a brown, and then look at the curls, juicy curls. The back I did a little bit darker, but I'm gonna do this technique here that I'm pointing out to you, where about 2/3 of the braid down, I'm just gonna do a complete twist around my finger. Instead of braiding it, or instead of just actually doing a 2-strand twist, I just take the rest of the hair from that braid and just whirl it around my finger and just do it like that. So I've done that before, and I really like the results of it because my hair is coils at the ends where less dry, and it just worked out better for me. Here's the back. Like I said, I started on it already. As you can see, about 1/3 of the bottom part of those braids are just twisted around my finger. So I'm going to get started here and just kind of show you the rest of how I did it, the techniques that I use on my hair. As you can see, it's very dry, especially the middle. That is like the driest part of my hair. I hate that part. So I always make sure to make a smaller braid in that area to give my hair a little bit more definition when it is braided. I'm about 2 months postpartum. So one thing I've been noticing, which I hate, is my hair has been falling out. I've been buying vitamins, like multivitamins to take, just to kind of keep up with my vitamin intake, but you know, it's still going to happen. When I do my braid outs, I like to do a more medium-sized portion of hair. As you can see, I'm struggling because it's a little bit tangled. But like I said, you guys, this is an old braid out that I'm just re-braiding. I'm just wetting my hair, putting more product on it, and just braiding it and starting all over again. I usually do that with my braid outs. I'll do 2 braid outs. Each braid out will last about 5 to 7 days at most. So I do that. And so for 2 weeks, I'll have a braid out, and then I'll wash and start over again with a fresh braid out, or I'll straighten it or what have you. But I don't like to make my sections too big because I'll have less definition. I'll have less curl. I'll have less of a curl pattern with my braids. So I like to actually make the braid portions a little bit smaller, not too small because that's just too much, but I like to do like a small, medium size, I guess I would say. But look at how dry it is. So one thing I've learned, when you do color your hair, you have to keep it super moisturized. I've just been lazy, so sorry about that. But I do like to drench my hair with water, and I do like to put extra product on it. If you're in the middle of a braid out and you feel like you want to go ahead and you're missing some definition, or it seems like it's dry, or it's like, you know, needing some hydration of some sort, then I just take certain pieces where the areas of hair look dry or there's not much definition, and I'll just braid that part overnight, and then I'll unbraid it in the morning and just, you know, add it back to the rest of my braid out. As you can see here, I'm definitely making sure that I making sure that I hydrate the entire portion of that hair that I have there. And of course, I like to use my little paddle brush there, and I detangle it. And I add a little bit of the honeycomb curl whip on there. I add some of that, of course, and I put that all over it. I definitely make sure to put water and product at the root of my hair, not just at the end, but also at the root. I want the definition to be from top all the way to the bottom of my hair. And I want this to last as long as possible, because I know the longer that I have the braid out, the less definition that I have over time, which is good because I like it to get puffier. I like the kinky look that it gives. I hate the day one braid out, to be honest with you. I try to leave it defined, honestly, and it's not as volumetric. It's not even a word at all, but I go ahead and leave it that way because, you know, it lasts longer over the days. And then that's probably day 2 or 3, really day 3 is when I'll start to use a pick and kind of pick the roots to make it get, you know, fluffier and bigger and just have more volume, which I love. As you can see here, I'm just going to braid it right from the root. One thing you need to know that is a huge hint with braid outs and twist outs too, is when you make your portions to get ready to braid or twist, do not borrow hair from other portions and within that entire braid or twist. If you borrow hair, it's a less seamless way to undo the braid when you get ready to take down your braids so that you can wear them out. It initiates frizz and it's just a mess. So make sure when you do make your 3 or 2 portions, depending on if you're braiding or twisting, make sure that they are all the same size so that you're not having to borrow hair to add to it later on down the braid. Another thing is when you're going down the braid or twist, always make sure that it's not kinky. Make sure that it is brushed out. As you saw just a second ago, I went ahead and in the middle of my braid, I stopped and brushed the hair out because I don't want it to have any kind of hair sticking out or, I just want it to be a nice, neat braid. I kind of stopped like right about here. So that's about 2/3 of the way down. Once again, I brush it again because I don't want any kind of kinks or anything in it. And I literally just twirl it around my finger just like that. Here's another close-up of the finger coiling that I do at the end of the braid. Well, not at the end, but about 2/3 down. But I'm going to go ahead and speed this video up so that you can watch the process in high speed. Okay, so now that I'm all done, I'm going to put some botana oil on my scalp. One thing I like to do is make sure I put the oil, any kind of oil, honestly, on all of my parts. But another thing I like to do as well is put oil right in the middle of each of the parts, like each of the braids there. You see how I'm putting a little dippy dap inside of each one? I make sure to put oil not only on the scalp, like I said, and on the parts, but also in the middle of each of the braids. So that is another good tip to make sure that when you take your braids out, that your hair is still very hydrated through and through, and you won't have as much frizz and everything going on. Stay tuned for the next video where I will do a braid out takedown and style. Peace out.